a foregone conclusion that Abramovich will get rid of Antonio Conte? Eamon?
I think so, because they've really treated him badly. They've bought and sold players, and he's publicly said that he had no input into the decisions made. Well, you can't allow that to continue. So I think for his own self-respect, as much as anything, he can't stay there and allow them to buy players like Danny Drinkwater and people like that who aren't good enough. So I don't think he'll be there at the start of next season. I've no doubt he'll be gone. It's a question of which job will come that appeals to him.
It'll be interesting, because then you have a situation where obviously Arsenal are searching for a new manager, and Chelsea, if Conte does leave. Yeah. I'm already looking ahead to next season, and I'm excited if Chelsea can sign a few players and maybe just bridge the gap that's been there from this season. If Liverpool can continue their upward trend and be consistent over league season, and if United maybe sign one or two, we could potentially have an incredible Premier League next year, Eamon.
Well, you're jumping ahead, Hugh.
I know, I like to jump ahead.
Quite a way. I think Liverpool would need to sign, 3 or 4 top-class players. They need a goalkeeper. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
They need a good central defender and cover for that good central defender. They need something in midfield, because Chan is leaving. He's going to Juventus, so they need to replace him. And they're all going to be fishing in a small little pool, because there's not that much talent out there. Real Madrid and Barcelona need to sign players, and Chelsea, well, I don't think, given the players they've signed in recent times and been linked with, I think Abramovich just finished spending big money. Because he realises he can't compete with PSG and Manchester City. So if that's the case, well then, who knows? But the players aren't out there.
We thought that at the start of this season, Hugh, that we were going to have like 4 or 5 teams competing, and you look at the way it's transpired. Obviously they've struggled, 2 or 3 of those big teams. United, look how bad, even though they're second. But I think the fact that they're second tells you everything you need to know about the Premier League, because they've been woeful. And if anybody tries to argue the point with me and tells me, there's progress going on at Man United and things are great, they're deluded. And that's included Man United fans, because any time I've watched them, they look a million miles away.
They were shocking again on Friday night. Shocking.
A million miles away from any of the top teams that they need to try and close the gap on.
Yeah, and look, Spurs losing to West Brom, they need players badly. But I think their coach, Pochettino, will go at the first opportunity he gets. And I think 1 or 2 of their players, Alderweireld, Harry Kane, Dele Alli, will they stay there? So we just have to wait and see what the summer brings. But I think there's never been as much money in the game, and there's never been such a shortage of top quality players.
So, yeah, and why is that? It's a logical progression.
I know it's a cliche, but it's a street game, and they're all...
Yeah.
You look at what's most fascinating about in Irish sport is the emergence of rugby, and all those great players that are young kids. They love it, and they've been inspired to take the game up, and they have the best coaches here, people like Joe Schmidt. So this is what soccer doesn't have. It's not really appealing if you look where the great players came from. Ronaldo came from Madeira. He had a difficult family background. Messi comes from Argentina, again from poverty. There's not enough poverty here.
Brian Kerr,
poverty and a military dictatorship. It produces football.
Yeah, well, Brian Kerr had an interesting piece on
Saturday.
It
was a very, very good piece.
Yeah,
excellent piece. I think it was in the Independent.
It was an Independent, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very good indeed. And I hope someone in authority is taking paying attention to it. It was
But
a
they're
very
not,
good
though.
piece.
This is the problem.
Well,
Like,
Brian,
nobody listens to Brian Kerr.
We've said it a
You know.
million times. Like
Well, everybody who has sense and cop on listens to Brian Kerr, but the people in charge, the people that matter, don't seem to
we've
listen
said
to
it
him at all.
1,000 times, and I speak to Brian regularly, how he's not involved in the game here at a level where he should be maybe director of football or overseeing things at a national level. Hugh, it's a travesty. I'd actually go as far as saying it's a travesty.
He made a lot of good points as well about the link between the schoolboy district, obviously, and now what is seen as the emergence of elitism and relying on League of Ireland clubs to produce and develop young talent, when the system, obviously going back the last 50, 60 years, has been what it is. And it's a puzzler. Like I know there's no quick answer on this one, but certainly I think with people like Brian and his experience, and he also made the point about Wes Hoolan as well. Like, will we actually get another Wes Hoolan in this country, and do we actually have a facility to produce players like that? And the answer is probably no, not at the moment.
No, we have people like John Giles and Liam Brady. You know, these are they've been great players. They're Irish. They've great football minds. I don't know if they're ever asked anything. I mean, who's producing these plans to pluck the best schoolboys away from their schoolboy clubs? I mean, this argument has been going on beneath the surface for 2 or 3 years, and now it's a fait accompli. They're going to League of Ireland clubs who can't barely know how to open a turnstile, most of them. You know, I mean, it's mad, but that's Irish soccer. I mean, Alan probably knows it more intimately than I do, but we're paying top dollar to people from abroad to come in here and tell us about something that nobody knows as well as Brian Kerr knows it.
Exactly. And if Brian would know the system here inside out, and he would know the best way about trying to keep the best talent in Ireland for as long as possible. It's become more and more apparent that the younger you leave now to go over and try and make it in the Premier League, you get chewed up and spit out.
Well, that's why the National League was brought in, with that there's going to be a pathway now with the League of Ireland clubs, but that's only started, so we're going to have to see how that transpires, Hugh. But as you say, the stats prove the later you go away now, the better chance that you have, that the young fellas who were going like many years ago, going at 14, 15, 16, you're just getting swallowed up nowadays because the clubs are casting the net so far and wide that you have no chance. And especially you look at the likes of the big clubs that players in the past used to go to, like Chelsea, they've more players out on loan that they have in their first team squad, you know, so you have no chance.